Good evening. This is Simmion, coming to you from the outer reaches of the universe, bringing you energies to support your day and to take you further into the world of your Creator. We're now at a point where there's no turning back, where we're all committed to taking the earth into another place, to where we're committed to bringing every one of us to the point of no return, where everything will appear in front of you that you've always expected to appear. There's no need to know anymore. There's only a need to be there, to experience what you said you would do many, many thousands of years ago. The elevation of each one of you is unstoppable. You are moving to where you cannot even imagine what's going to happen. But the elements around you are ready. They're ready to expose the mystery of anything and everything you decide to approach. You will be bringing things out of thin air. You'll be enjoying what you thought was impossible without any effort at all. And you won't even be concerned about knowing how, because it's too simple. Your whole life has clarity, and you do not need to follow anyone or anything, because the dance of the universe will support you all the way. Now that we're here and we're more or less flying, we can take on anything. But we will never take on anything that has passed, because it's not necessary, it's out of date, and it's like getting a 10-ton truck to shift a glass of water. We have a lightness about us, and our world is becoming lighter. So all the heaviness in everything we do is absolutely useless. There are so many different unimaginable experiences that you will all take on, and you will achieve not what you have in mind now, but what you could not even bring into your mind now, because you only have fixed patterns. So the use of the mind will actually fall into the background. That super intelligence that comes from afar will drown out all the movement that you bring together by thought, because actual natural movement happens without thought. The masters of all times have considered ways and means to pass this on to you. And now it's not necessary, because you already know. Every part of you is fully aware of what I'm talking about, even though It seems like I'm talking in riddles. But every one of you know that there is no direct line from one place to another. There is no progression. There is no elevation. There's only where you are now and where you're going to be in another second. All that is controlled by many, many different things. And as you learn more about them, you will realize that you can't put any of it in your brain. You can't store any of it because you multifunction in a whole different way to what your brain does. Your brain supports multifunctioning, but it doesn't decipher it. Your being supports multifunctioning, but it doesn't do it. So everything around you will perform for you. Forces that you have never even imagined belong to you and come from you. But with a flick of the hand or an inflection of tone, you can control those massive forces. There is no direct line between one thing and another. It is totally random and indirect. And what we've learned about what's on Earth and how it works is actually not going to work anymore, because the tiniest movement will produce the biggest effect. Big movements will disappear into nowhere because they're not using the special effect of having universal energy in your life. With that universal energy in your life, you can use the power of the universe at the flick of a finger. You can make things glow by deciding they should. You can make things grow, not by watching them, but by deciding, not with your brain, but with that inflection of, it'll be fine, and walk away, or even just give it a slight touch. It will recover and everything will grow perfectly. If it doesn't, it will be replaced by something that's more suitable. In saying there's no direct connection between what you do and what result you get, you must remember that you get more. You always get more. You don't need any assistance. You only need support. And that support is not physical and it's not words. It is an integrated flow that we all bring to one another, both in and outside the visible planes. And we all get a great thrill from every little thing that we do, because we know that it's not only helping someone, it's helping everyone. The classical was brought to you in this world from another world. The classical music of past eras has a secret that many of you know about, but you've never explored. The sense of classical music within your being is not the same as listening to classical music. The sense of classical music that drives your being and produces the impossible has been reflected in many tunes, but in fact, it's only a copy of what you have inside you. The instant you dare to play that music within yourself without hearing it, without copying, without thinking you have to remember, you will feel it. It will turn on things that you have never seen before. We're about to encourage everybody to burst for a fraction of a second the classical music within themselves and see what happens. It starts a process that rebuilds your being. It is the first thing you do when you start to cry as a child. But the classical music that's part of you goes right through your being, and it switches everything on and it restarts. Not only the physical cells, but all the cells of your being from zero. As you get to do these sorts of things, and you know the power of your capability, you can switch yourself back on in a fraction of a second. Just by knowing that you only have to send that special classical music through you for a fraction of a second with a great burst, and you've restarted yourself. This is what allows you to be in any atmosphere, under any circumstances, at any time, because you restart with all the data that's surrounding you at that time. All the outdated data disappears. All the senses become new. So what you think you have lost restarts in a whole different form. We're now able to tell you that each time you do that, you will give yourself a whole new life on this earth and everywhere else. The beauty that surrounds every person will be rekindled as soon as you fire that spark, which is classical music. So complex and so enormously beautiful that you will wonder why you haven't done it before. So as we step into this new era, we also step into renewable us, not just renewable energy or resources, but renewable us. And each one of us has waited for many, many, many years until we're in the position to know that we will reveal all these things to one another without complications and without obligation. And now each one of us know that at any time we wish, we can refire our whole system just with a sudden burst of our own personal classical music. And everyone will hear through different senses, and they will see and understand every movement you make. Because all the rules disappear when you start again. And from now on, we will be in a position where we'll come alongside you even when you're walking down the road, and we'll remind you to give yourself that burst of your own special music. And it is so fast and so exciting that you forget everything straight away. And you find yourself sitting on top of the world without a thing to be concerned about. So when we talk about elevation, you'll know what we're talking about. When we're talking about turning your own engine on, you know what we're talking about. It all starts with that sudden burst of music that rotates everything and spins it in all sorts of directions and makes your system interact immediately and develop the impossible right there where you stand. So as we come towards a new year, we can be a new person. And it's not by thought and it's not by deed. It's by a fraction of a second burst of beautiful music that is so powerful, it restructures your whole being. So as we move into the new year, our efforts and our focus will change to one of not support in the world that you're in, but support to redevelop you into the world that you've built. You've made tremendous progress in building a new reality, a new world, and many of you are tired. But just watch what happens when you refire your system and find out there's no such thing as tired. So from all those who are here to assist you and to bring you the best in every part of your life, it's with deep honor that we say thank you and congratulations for the enormous impossibility that you've achieved. We have all gained, and we will all continue to gain. So let me say what I always say, and this time with a greater respect than ever. Love one another as you've never loved before. And take on your new self by daring to fire up the music and be totally different. Thank you. Enjoy every moment. I am Simmion.